Hey there guys, it's time for you to join me for a movement break, and today I'm going to take you through a spinal release and hamstring stretch using the wall. Now this one is really going to address all of your chair baggage, because from sitting excessively, and we all do it, you shorten and tighten up your hamstrings, your lower back muscles, which in turn also tighten up the upper back, the head position, etc, etc. So let's get to it. Find yourself a wall space and keep an eye on the camera, but more importantly, keep an eye on my words. All right, so standing with bring your heels out from the wall a little bit. You don't want them jammed back by a wall. So just step them forward so you feel like you're leaning. Have your butt on the wall, but adjust your pelvis to neutral, where your pubic bone and your two ASIS line up in the same plane. And then what I want you to do is just put your hand on your sternum. Now, normal posture, you lift that chest up. So holding your neutral pelvis, just relax your sternum down, just so you're not pulling your shoulders back. Okay, now with my sternum down, my ribs are now level with my pelvis. However, as you can see, my arms sort of sit slightly in front of me. So try not to pull your shoulders back, trying to resist that. Let it all just be. All right, now from here, you can see I can't keep my head on the wall, and that's perfectly, I'm expecting that when I'm holding my sternum vertical, because my muscles through my upper back and my neck have shortened, so I need to work on lengthening them so my head can come back without me lifting my chin up. So let's start with the head hang. Just release your head and literally just let it hang. But I want you to make sure your pelvis didn't move off the wall when you did that. Or if I push my hand in here, I'm making sure my rib cage and my bra strap is well anchored to the wall, because as soon as that comes off, I'm not getting a neck stretch. So holding neutral, bra strap on the wall, just let the shoulders and the arms go, but let the head hang. Now you can play with this and just move your head off little increments at a time to the left, and you're just trying to find areas that are feeling tight for you. I'm not going to go through them all today. You can take your time and do that. And you'd obviously do the same off in the other direction. So trying to find any areas that are a little bit too sticky. Now from here, remember, bra straps on the wall, pelvis is fixed to the wall. I am going to see how far I can release just my spine without my pelvis moving. So what I do is I just let go of my spine, and I can feel my bra strap kind of lifting up the wall behind me before it comes off. And I just keep releasing my spine, my head, my shoulders, seeing how far I can go without any movement from the pelvis. Now you'll know if you're moving your pelvis because you'll feel it lifting up the wall. So only go as far as you can through spinal flexion. And now allow your pelvis to participate. And I want you to literally slide your pelvis up the wall. So you feel like your bottom's climbing higher. How high can you get your bottom up the wall? Now go as far as you can. Remember, I do this a lot, so I comfortably come down to the floor. Don't be alarmed if you're halfway up. It is what it is. You work with your boundaries. So with my pelvis sliding up the wall, I get to a point where it doesn't slide up anymore. So I now have to hold it up. I don't want to bend my knees and pull the pelvis down, because then we lose the objective, which is to get more length on these posterior muscles. So I'm keeping my pelvis lifted. Because I touch the floor naturally, I'm just holding on lightly around my arms so I don't push myself back up. And what I want you to do is just keep lifting that pelvis up the wall. Be very active with the pelvis, but be very relaxed with the spine, the head and the shoulders. And now reverse it by pulling down on the pelvis. So I'm tucking it, tucking it, tucking it, tucking it, tucking, tucking, tucking. And I keep pulling down, feel my hamstrings bringing me up. And I'm pulling down until my pelvis actually comes back to neutral, where I started. Now my pelvis is neutral. I now need to work back through flexion to bring that bra strap, just the bra strap. I feel it come back to the wall. I'm not trying to pull my shoulders back to the wall, okay? And then just gently ramp the head back up again, okay? We've done head ramps in previous videos. And we repeat again. So from a neutral pelvis, rib cage on the wall, sternum vertical, release the head, release the shoulders. See how far you can go just on the merits of your spine without the pelvis moving. That's it for me. Now use the pelvis, slide your pelvis up the wall, and go as far as you can where you keep your knees straight. Remember, straight is not bent, but it's also not locked. All right, now from here, what I want you to do, keeping the pelvis elevated, is just see if you can shift your pelvis off the wall. So keep lifting it up as you move more over the fronts of the feet, not into the toes, just into the fronts of the feet, and the heels stay down. So now I'm on a more vertical thigh bone, which gives me more sensation in my calves and my hamstrings and in my spinal muscles as well. So you can do that a few times, keeping the pelvis lifted. Let your weight come in back into your heels, which will let the pelvis move back. And now let the weight come into the fronts of the feet, and that'll bring you onto this vertical thigh bone. All right, you can also play with this. Come up when you need to, take your mini breaks, and shift your weight from one leg, so that way you're going to be more weight bearing over one hamstring. You go, wow, and all the way across to the other leg. So feel the difference in your hamstrings just by taking your weight from one leg across to the other. Now if this is too much, just keep your backside on the wall, and you can still do the same thing, shift from one side across to the other. Now just come around and take a quick peek at my feet. Here's another way of adding more load to the movement. If you have a look at your feet, now I'm just going to exaggerate this, a lot of you will find you've got very collapsed arches and the ankle bones are very close together. Now what I would like you to try and do is rotate your thigh bones just enough, so you're rotating them outwards, just so you can see your arches pick up and these ankle bones point straight ahead. So you can see I've got more of an arch, the toes are liftable, ankles are lined up, but you're not going so far that you roll the ankles down onto the floor. And that also will give you a lot more sensation through the back chain of the body. All right, now from here, lift and lower the toes a few times. See if you can pull your big toes, your hallux, towards your midline to get more of a stretch over the front of the foot as well. All right, I'm going to relax the toes down, and I'm going to release the head and the shoulders fully. Make sure I'm not holding any tension. Relax your quads. Make sure you're not tensing them. That will pull on your knees. We want them relaxed. And then slowly pull down on the pelvis. Take your time coming up. There's no rush. The longer you take, the more you feel and the more tissues you'll work into. Get the head released, working with the pelvis, pulling down, pulling down, pulling down. And I'm just bringing my hands here just so you can see I'm working with the pelvis. And I'm bringing that pelvis back to neutral. So there's neutral for me. Okay. Now to bring the rest of my spine up to the wall, I'm going to think about my bra strap. I'm going to pull down on my bra strap. And as I pull down on my bra strap, that brings my rib cage back to the wall as well. Pulling down on my bra strap. And then to bring the head up, I just gently head ramp. Beautiful. So guys, that is the spinal release and hamstring stretch. It's to help you get rid of all that excess chair baggage from sitting and hip and knee flexion. The more frequently you can visit this exercise, the better. You don't have to use a wall, but a wall's really great because it keeps you honest. So throw it into your day because, just get up out of your seat, find a wall or just do it and get some movement and increase the tissue and the mass in this posterior chain. So I hope you enjoyed that. Good luck and I'll see you next week. Bye.